Shalom. Welcome to Fruitful Possession. My name is Sister Jemima from the house of Jacob. Welcome to the daughters of Israel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make beef patties. But normally, when you make beef patties, of course, you use beef. Today I'm going to use turkey or chicken. So let's get started. So let's talk about the ingredients we'll need to make these beef patties. So you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need 1 cup of water with ice in it. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of turmeric. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. I got a bottle of the squeezed organic minced garlic at the supermarket, which you can make it fresh. You're going to need 1 onion, so I cut up 1 red onion. You're going to need 1 green bell pepper, the regular one, and cut that up. I'm using 1/4 cup of minced flaxseed. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of pink salt or sea salt. This is 2 tablespoons of organic steak seasoning. And I use 5 Scotch bonnet peppers. 5 Scotch bonnet peppers, and I cut those up. These are hot peppers. So you may see them either they're orange or they're yellow. They do have other varieties as well. They have green as well as red, but I use 5 Scotch bonnet peppers. All right, so let's go into the next step. Okay, so now we're going to prepare to cook the ground chicken or ground turkey. And so I have a cast iron pan. I used to use non-stick pans, but I noticed as they got older, the sealing in it kept coming out of it. And I like cast iron pans because it has iron in it, which is really good for us. So I went back to the cast iron pans. I really like it. You just have to keep them oiled. So what I do is I spray it with a little non-stick extra virgin olive oil after I clean it off. And then I bake it in the oven for like a minute or two, like 5 minutes, so the oils can sit inside of it. It's really good. And this is another really good example of a Titus 2, 3 through 5 class for showing younger sisters how to cook. So Titus 2, 3 through 5 talks about the aged woman likewise. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. So I really like that scripture because this is what this is, showing you how to cook. I learned how to cook beef patties. So I'm going to show you how to cook a turkey version of it or chicken version of the patties that the Benjamites came up with. And, you know, of course, all of the 12 tribes have wonderful that they share, and other Israelites can learn from them. So I have some extra virgin olive oil. Hope you can see that in the camera. Extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to pour a little bit in this cast iron pan, not a lot. I have my heat on medium heat. So I'm not going to put a lot in there because the oil in the meat itself will make the pan really mushy when you're cooking it, and you don't want your patties to be soaky with the meat oil and the oils from the extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to just kind of move this oil around inside the pan, as you can see. And I'm going to, the first thing I'm going to do in the pan is put the 2 tablespoons of garlic in there to help pick up the flavors of everything else. Garlic in there. Okay, on medium heat. So I'm only going to cook it for like a minute or two. I just want to make sure it gets brown. And right after you put it in there pretty much, I'm going to start putting the onions and the green peppers in there. So here's the green pepper that I'm putting in there, and you stir it as I go along. If you find in your cast iron pan is really dry when you're cooking, you can just add just a tad, a little bit more oil, but not too much. But I can tell that this is enough. I'm going to add the onions. All right. And I have the green peppers and red onions cooking in there. So I'm going to start putting the meat in there as well, the ground turkey, the 1 pound of ground turkey. And then the 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put the flaxseed on top of the turkey burger, the turkey ground chicken, turkey or ground chicken, whatever which one you're using. I'm going to put, of course, we have more salt there. That's 1 teaspoon of salt. I have the 2 tablespoons of steak seasoning I'm mixing in there. Here's the Scotch bonnet bell peppers. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of water to my ingredients right in the pan. And then I'm going to mix everything up really good. Mix it all up together. And what I want to do is when I mix everything up, after I let everything mix up on medium heat, I just want to cook it enough where every last piece of meat is cooked well done. So I'm just mixing everything, the green peppers, the onions, the steak seasoning, the cornstarch, the Scotch bonnet bell peppers, the salt, the olive oils in there, all the ingredients together, real good. And then after it's cooked, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now I'm going to get the pocket ready so that I can stuff it with the patty mix to bake in the oven. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my all-purpose flour. This is the 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to take the 2 tablespoons of turmeric and put it inside the bowl with the flour. I'm going to take the teaspoon of salt and dump it in the mix as well. And I'm going to take a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil and pour inside the 3 cups of all-purpose flour, the 2 tablespoons of turmeric, and uh, the 2 tablespoons of turmeric, and the teaspoon of salt. So I got a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil I just dumped in there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to mix this stuff together. So if you have a machine that will mix it together for you, that would be great. And you also need your 1 cup of cold water. And I put ice cubes in it because it's really important to have the water very cold. So I'm going to start pouring the water in there, and I'm going to mix it. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. I'm just going to mix everything together. If you have a blender and it blends it better for you, and you have 1 cup of water, that's fine. You just need 1 cup of water to get everything together. And you'll notice as you're mixing everything together, the flour is no longer like a white color. It starts turning orange, and that's what you want. That's the turmeric changing the color. So I'm going to take my hands and mix it together because eventually I'm going to have to take it out of the bowl and put it on my mat so I can make those patty um, pockets to stuff. So I'm just going to mix it together. I'm mixing it together so you can see that. I'm mixing it together. You can take your hands if you want to. If you find out you need a little bit more water, that's okay. You just don't want it mushy. You don't want to put any more than a cup of water in there. So I know I'm going to need some more water because I couldn't mix everything in there. But I only am using 1 cup. So I'm just going to be mixing it. And at some point, I'm going to have to put my hands in there. So I'm going to be close to a sink because I have to wash my hands to get everything off. And of course, you want to wash your hands before you start cooking your meal. Just because you know you might be doing things out of the house, you may be coming home from work, right? And so you had to maybe all kind of things. You had to go to the bathroom, you had to change the babies, you had to clean up. So you want to wash your hands before you start cooking. So I'm just mixing this together. So I'm finding I need to put my hands inside the bowl now because the spoon is not going to do but so much. So I'm just going to get my hands really in here, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm turning everything over now. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm turning that over. See? And it's starting to change colors. You can see that. So I'm mixing it together. And there's flour at the bottom. So I'm just kneading everything together, mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. And that's going to sit for a minute. Okay. This is just some flour I have left over because I have to put flour on the surface of the cutting board before I start rolling it in the dough. So I don't know if you can see me. I'm mixing it. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm just going to wash my hands. And so what we're going to do is the next step is I'm going to put it on the cutting board. And you're going to see how I roll out the patty pockets, and then we're going to stuff them and put them in the oven on 350 for 25 minutes. So let's go on to the next step. Okay, so now I have a little cutting board. They have them in plastic and they have them in a wood texture. So I'm going to use a plastic cutting board today. The wood cutting board is much better. And some things I have on hand with me is I have a little bit of all-purpose flour here because I'm going to need to sprinkle this cutting board with some all-purpose flour when I put the dough on it to start making the patty pockets. And I also need one of these. This helps to flatten out the patty pockets. You just kind of roll it back and forth when the dough is on the surface. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this all-purpose flour and I'm going to sprinkle it on the cutting board like that, right? Because it needs a coating up here when I put the flour, the dough on this surface when I start getting it together. So now I'm just going to take this, right? Move this around. like so, right? And what I need to do is, before I even start kind of rolling it over and over, I need to cut it in half because I need to work with a smaller surface. So let me just cut this in half for one. I still find I need to coat the surface again because it's sticking to the cutting board. So I'm just going to put some more up there. Now I have half the dough that I made. And I said, well, you know, it's still too big because I'm going to start making patties. So let me put another one back in the bowl. And now I'm going to just take half of this little one and cut it in half again. Where I think whatever size patties you want determines how large you want this to be when you start working with one patty. So I feel okay. I think I can make this even smaller. So I'm going to cut this in half again. I'm just going to show you at this step how to roll your dough. And I'm going to put a little bit more on top of the section I took out. And now I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to flatten it. So I'm going to take my roller and kind of just roll back and forth like this. And you're going to notice it's sticking to the roller. That's normal. That's normal. And you can even sprinkle some more all-purpose flour on the surface. Nothing wrong with doing that. I'm going to roll this back and forth like so. Right? And take this off. You're going to may find you have to put more up here. That's okay. I'm going to sprinkle this back and forth. So if you find that it's sticking like this, so this is sticking for me, that means I need to put more flour in there. It has more water consistency than flour. So I'm going to take this off. And this is normal to make mistakes while you're cooking. That's okay. I'm just going to go grab some more flour and I will be right back. Okay, so I made an adjustment on the amount of flour I needed to add to my dough, and it's working out a whole lot better now. So what I'm doing is I took a little small section, and as you can see, it's flat like this, right? And that's what we're going to roll our patty in. So I'm going to just keep flattening the dough out as much as I can. If I would like it nice and round, the dough that I'm going to use, I would just use a small plate like this or something a little smaller and trace out the corners with a butter knife to make it look more rounder. But if I'm happy with the shape when I'm preparing the patty, then I just keep the shape that I have. So I'm just going to make it rounder. This is just used as a guide to make the patties rounder when you're stuffing them. So this is one patty casing. So I'm just going to put it in that plate. I'm going to just show you another one. Do it again. So here's another section. I can make it a little bigger. Here's one. Here's another piece of dough that I cut off. And I'm making sure that my surface has a coating of flour so it won't stick to the roller. You can put some flour on the roller too. It does help it before you start rolling. You can do that as well. So I'm going to take another one, and after I do this one, I'm going to show you how to stuff it. So I'm just going to roll it. This one may be a little bigger. If you find it sticking to your roller, you just add some flour to it. Just going to roll it back and forth. So I'm finding it's sticking. So I'm just going to put some on the actual dough itself. Keep rolling it back. Roll it back and forth. 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 You may find you want to turn it around and roll it. That's fine. Roll it back and forth. Roll it back and forth. You look for your small plate. Something small. This is a small plastic plate. right? And you can use it as a tracer in your corners. So I'm just going to use it as a tracer. This corner wasn't that round, so I said, okay, I'll fix that. And you can see it's flat, see? And this patty is going to be a little bigger. So I'm going to put that in that plate. So now I'm going to just show you quickly how to stuff a patty pocket and get it ready to be put in the oven. So I'll be right back. So now I'm going to show you how to stuff a patty. I'm going to show you how to do that. So now we have, as you can see, we have some dough that was flattened, right? It's going to be ready to stuff. We have different sizes. So I'm going to show you a bigger one. This one is a very good one too. I'm going to show you this one right here. So here's our flattened one that we flattened earlier. Maybe you can see that. And then this is the meat that we had cooked earlier today. This is the ground chicken or the ground turkey with all those seasoning in it. So now I'm just going to take a portion of what we cooked and I'm going to lay it on, and like in the middle part of the patty. Not a lot of it. Right? Then I'm going to take the top of it and I'm going to fold it over the beef patty. And I'm going to start pushing down where the meat is sitting. Push it where the meat is sitting. And I want to straighten out the corners a little bit. I could actually pull this down if I wanted to. I'll pull it down. And I'm going to cut it right here myself because I want it to have a certain shape. I need to clean it off a little bit. I'm just going to press down on it with my fingers in the corner. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just cleaning up the corners a little bit. And I'm just going to flatten the middle, flatten the middle, flatten the middle, and flatten the corners with my fingers. And I'm going to take a fork and press down right here, all the way around. Go all the way around with your fork. All the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. Then I'm going to stick 3 holes in it. One right there, one in the middle, and one right here. So when it starts cooking, it won't puff up in that part. So I'm just going to take it and put it in the pan. I'm going to show you what that looks like at the end. But I want to sprinkle some more flour here. I want to make sure these pockets aren't too moist because that's what you saw in the other one. You want to put some more flour on the actual dough that we flattened out. That way we won't see it sticking to the fork like that. All right, and this one's nice and flat. So you can see that that's nice and flat. So I'm just going to lay that down. And I'm going to put some meat in there, right in the middle of it. Then I'm going to take the top of the dough and fold it over. Press the corners. I don't know if you can see me. I'm pressing the corners of the dough on the side. You can even fold it. It's not going to mess anything up. You flatten it because it's going to look really nice when you finish. You pat the top part where the meat is gently. Then you just take your fork and start making these little fork designs at the bottom. All the way around, all the way around, all the way around. right? And you can make any shape you want. And if you can see that, that's what a patty looks like. And I'm just going to put that in the pan. And don't forget to put the 3 holes in it. You puncture it in different areas so when you're cooking, it won't like puff up when you're baking it in the oven. So I'm just putting 3 sets of holes in there. I'm going to show you the pan when it's done. So let's get another patty base, right? I'm going to put some more flour on it because I want to make sure it doesn't stick to the fork when I'm trying to stuff it with the meat. Right, so this is going to be a larger beef patty. Well, this is actually, I use chicken or turkey. So, and as you can see, when you, I don't know if you can see it from here. Let me see if I can show this to you. I put flaxseed in here. So you can't even tell the flaxseed is in it, and you can't taste it either. You can't taste the flaxseed, but I just wanted to put it in there, and it's very good. I just made sure that I was going to get the ground flaxseed, so it won't be crunchy, but it's very good. Very healthy for you too. So I'm going to make this one a little bigger because my husband, my Lord, he may want a bigger patty. He likes to eat several. My Lord is from the tribe of Judah, and I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. But we love all the 12 tribes' food, you know, different ones, the lawful food. We like to try different things. So I'm going to stuff this. I'm going to roll this over. So this is a much larger beef patty right here. Well, I keep calling it beef patty because we're known for saying that because that's what they sell them as. But this is turkey or chicken, ground turkey or chicken. So I'm just going to pat it on the sides, on the corners. Gently pat it where the meat is. You don't want to press it too hard because the flour, the dough will kind of separate. So just lightly pat it at the top, then press it on the sides because you're going to make a fork impression on it all the way around it. And so I'm going to take my fork, press down here. Now see, when you see it sticking like that, it just means it needs more flour. That's all. It's a little moist, and that's okay. You just add it to the corners. You're not going to see this because before we put this in the oven, we're going to coat it with some egg white. We're going to brush it on top of the whole thing. So it's going to look really nice when it's done. So I'm just making fork marks all the way around it. It's nice to learn how to make your own, you know, cook your own food. Like I like to make my own raspberry jam now. It's really good to make it from scratch. You can decide what you want to put in there, what kind of sugar. Like I use cane sugar instead of the regular sugar. If you get the organic version of it, of raspberry jam, something like that, it will cost you more money. But if you buy it yourself, you can make a whole thing of it. So I'm going to take this one, put this over here as well. I'm going to make another one. And we're just going to keep going through this until you have used all your dough. You're going to make the base for it so you can stuff the patty dough, right? You're going to stuff this. So you want to make sure you have plenty of these. And it takes practice. You may not get it right the first time, second time, third time. It just takes practice. All right, so this one's ready to go. So I'm going to stuff this one as well. I'm going to put the meat in the middle. Then I'm going to take the top, roll it over the bottom, gently touch the middle where the meat is. Just pat down. Then I'm just going to press the corners all the way around with my fingers. See, I still need practice with this, but these are nice to make. Then you know what you're putting in. Then you know what kind of patty you're eating as well. And you can shape it up too. You can take a butter knife and kind of shape up the sides if you want after you make the design. So I'm going to take the fork And I'm just going to press it all the way around, all the way around. This one's good. It's not sticking to the fork as much, so that means I have enough flour in here. It's not too much water. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to show you what it looks like with the impression in this one after I finish. It's coming out really nicely. Then I'm going to take a fork and stick it in here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And if you want to shape it any different, you can. You know, you can say, okay, this part is too long. I'll cut off. I'll trim it a little bit. That's okay. Whatever you like to do. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I don't know if you can see that. That's a patty as well. Okay. And I'll be right back. I'm going to show you the next step. So here's another patty that I'm making. And I'm just going to take a fork. So what did I do with my fork? Yep, there it is. I'm just going to lightly pat the top again. Take the sides and press it down with the fork. It makes a little design around it. You want to preheat your oven to 350, whether it's a gas or electric oven. And you want to bake these for 25 minutes. And you're going to make sure you spray some extra virgin olive oil spray on the bottom of the pan just to coat it before you put the patties in. And then you're going to coat it with some egg white, and then you're going to let that cook. So I'm going to go on to the next step. Okay, so this is the next step. I put 4 patties in a pan. I sprayed the pan lightly with some extra virgin olive oil spray. Then I placed 4 patties inside this pan. And so now I'm going to coat it with some egg white. So what I have in front of me is I have a brush that I'm going to use to brush the patties with. I have some egg white that I used. And so I'm going to just take the brush, dip it in here, and then I'm just going to coat it. I'm going to coat all the patties with the egg white. I'm going to coat it really nicely. Coat this one on every part of it. You don't have to soak it, just give it a nice coating on the whole patty. You can always wipe off any excess if you think you put too much. You just lightly dab it. So I'm just taking a brush and I'm brushing the patties with them. On the top, the corners, on the sides. So now what I'm going to do is, I want you to see that. Now the next step is I'm going to put it in the oven on 350 for 25 minutes, and I'm going to show you what they look like when they're done. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the patties in the oven, and they're cooking at 350 for about 25 minutes. And I'm just going to show you how to make a basic salad. This one is this has a little bit more ingredients than the other basic salad that I showed you in another video, where you just took a head of lettuce and just made it with whatever you actually had in the refrigerator, or just something very, very basic. So this one I'm going to show you how to make a bowl of salad. So when your family comes home, or your Lord comes home, your children come home, or you're tired and you don't want to make something from scratch, you can buy things in the supermarket that can help you make it much faster and better for your family. So I have a bowl. This is what I use for a salad bowl when I want to serve. And then when the family wants more, they just grab from it. You can get these at Walmart, you can get it at IKEA, different places, or you can get your own kind of salad bowl. But this is the kind I like for my family. And what I did was, when I don't have time, or I wanted to have a mixture of um, kale and spinach in it, different types of lettuce in there, I get something like a spring mix. So this one is a spring mix. You can find it in your supermarkets or whatever you like, but this is already ready to go. You can get it in like a casing like this, a container like this, or a bag, and they have mixtures of different types of salad mixes. So the first thing I do after I've cleaned out my bowl, it's empty, I'm just going to throw my lettuce in here, my spring mix. I'm just going to take some. I'm not going to take all of it because salad will go limp after a couple of days. So I'm really just making enough for tonight and tomorrow, because if the family wants to pack their own lunch, they like it really. If you cook very well, you start learning how to cook really well, they won't even buy lunch from their job. They'll make their lunch from home, all praises to the Most High, save money for the family, eat better, and they just want to eat your food, which is really good. So this is ready-made salad. I'm just throwing that in there. And I don't know if you can see this. This is some of the stuff I got. I got some loose cranberries because that's what my family likes. So they like eating them as snacks. I'm trying to get on the camera. They like it as snacks. So they like it also in their salad as well. And I have some croutons, which is nice. Croutons. I'm gonna put some carrots in here. We like this type, the matchstick kind when we're putting it in the salad, but they have other ones as well, baby carrots. So I'm just going to sprinkle some baby carrots in here on the salad. So now we got lettuce. We got a spring mix lettuce, all right, with some spinach in it. Now I'm kind of coating it with some carrots. And I'm going to coat it with some olives. I'm going to pick black olives. So I'm just putting black olives on there now, sprinkling some black olives in the salad mix. I have some cut up tomatoes that I cut up earlier. I'm going to lay that on there as well. This has lycopene in it. It's very good. Cut them in halves because if there's something left over, they can take it too for lunch or dinner tomorrow night, which is good. Now I'm going to put some avocados on the salad as well. So I just cut up a few avocados, slices, put them on there, put them in there as well. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of broccoli in there, not much, just a little bit of broccoli heads, just to kind of offset it. Because our family likes broccoli, so I just put it in there. Just a few of them, just so the salad will have a variety. So I'm going to just put some broccoli heads in there. And I'm going to sprinkle some cranberries on it. Some dried cranberries I'll sprinkle on it. Not a lot, but the family really likes the way it tastes. And I'm going to put some croutons in there. Some croutons. And that's pretty much it. I was thinking about putting onions in there, but since the patties are very spicy this time, they're spicy because they have the hot Scotch bonnet peppers, I decided to omit the red peppers in this. So it just could be this. So this is what it looks like. It's very nice. If you can see that on the camera. That's my garden salad. So it has a little bit of everything in it, and you can put other things in there too, like sliced, very thin sliced strawberries, whatever you like for your family, whatever your family likes. That's what you can do, and that's pretty much it. I'm done. I made the salad. I can wrap it up, put it in the refrigerator until it's time to serve, and I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna check on the patties and show you what they look like, and then we're going to make a plate. So these are what the cooked beef patties will look like. As you can see if I can zoom out for you. These are what they look like. These are the beef patties that just came out of the oven. This was on 350 degrees. I'll show you another pan. This is another pan. 350 degrees for 25 minutes. And these are actually, I keep saying beef patties, but these are turkey patties, which the whole family can enjoy. So if you can see the way they look just like if you were going to buy them. Your patties would be much, much better if you make them yourself. Because you can pick what you want in them. And then you can freeze them too. Like if you make a whole bunch of them, you don't have to serve them right away. You say, well, I may have another day where I'm really busy and I don't have time, but I know the family likes them. All right. And you can put them in the freezer and you can heat them up. You can make as many as you want. So this particular batch that I made was with just 1 pound of ground turkey. And I was able to make, even though you only see about 7 here, I was able to go on and make more and make 11 to 12 patties. So I was able to put some away in the freezer. I can serve some for dinner, and the family can also take them, eat them. Okay, so I'd like to show you the finished plate. This is the beef patty that I made. That we made actually, if you follow this tutorial. And this is the garden salad you see on the right hand side. So this was the beef patty that we were able to make. See if we can show you that a little closer. And you can make beef patties, I keep saying beef patties, your patty, your chicken or turkey patty, any size you want. You can have it large, you can put more meat in yours, you can make them smaller, you can make the dough thinner, you can make the dough thicker. But this is what I would pretty much serve. Like for a meal like this, I would make a garden salad and I would make a whole bunch of beef patties, and then the family could take them whenever they wanted to, and I could put some in the freezer or leave some in the refrigerator for them. You can serve this kind of garden salad with lots of things: steak, fried chicken, fish, beef, whatever you think is. You can even eat it by itself. You can put tuna on top of it, or canned chicken, whatever you think is great with that, or you could just eat it like this as well. And so if I was making a basic plate for dinner for the family, it's okay, my husband's getting ready to come home, my Lord's ready to come home, my family's coming home. How would I set a basic table? So I would have my plate. This is a nice little plate I thought I'd like to show the family. It's plastic, but it had a pretty design in it. It had flowers in there. So I thought that would look nice for the family. So I would get a nice sized plate, put the patty on top of the plate, make a nice little garden salad, make sure I have a variety of salad dressings for the family to choose from. All kinds, whatever the family likes, I make sure it's sitting on the table so they can grab it. Then I would have a napkin, just a regular napkin. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a different, certain type of napkin. Just get a basic one, fold it into a triangle like that. Then stick it underneath the table in the middle, flat. Put your fork on top on the left-hand side of the table. Take a butter knife and just place it on the right side. So for this particular meal, the family doesn't need a spoon because they're just going to eat a garden salad and and a beef patty and a patty. So I wouldn't put that out unless they were eating something else. They had a snack or something. Otherwise, I would also have like a cup. Like if suppose they wanted like some water, because it's good to encourage everyone to drink water. So I would have water, a water glass here, and I would definitely put ice in it because they like that. You know, especially when you don't ask for it, you just have ice ready to go. It's good to have your own ice maker. You can get them at Walmart. You don't have to keep buying it at the store. You can buy an ice maker if you don't have one in your refrigerator. Or if you have trays, you want to fill up the trays, that's fine too. That's really good. It's just good to have the ice already in the cup. So you put ice in there, and this will be like the water glass. You can have a paper cup. It doesn't have to look like this. You can have a paper cup that has ice in it. You just lay it right there. Then you want to also have something, another glass. Let me move this over here. You want to have another glass for the juice. And that would be great if you could put ice in that as well. So that's actually a nice little combination, something really quick. I thought I just wanted to show you how to make patties, how to make a garden salad, and how to set a very basic table. And of course, you want to smile and, have a nice, meek, and quiet spirit with your family, even though you may have had a rough day um, as well as your family. It's nice when they come home and they see your face and know that you cooked this wonderful meal for them. Or you may have decided to cook something else like pot roast or fish or whatever it is you'd like to do. So I hope you enjoyed this class with Nonprofit Fruitful Possession. You have a wonderful day. All praises to the Most High and Most High in Christ blessed. Shalom.